Alright guys, here we go, my Thunderbolt 305. Yes, this is my personal 305. I had it hooked up here and figured I'd do a video on it. Hadn't done a video on one in a while. I'm pretty sure I've done one on this exact amp before. But it's always good to kind of revisit, and I've got it out here testing it, blowing the dust out of it. Trying to get everything ready to get my beam station back online. My goodness, I've been so busy. I haven't had time to fool with it much. And it's been literally a work in progress for probably about 2 years. Get everything ready, and then something happens. Have to do some upgrading here, upgrading there. Antenna changes, amplifier changes, coax changes, you guys name it, but I'm very close to getting everything going. So figured I would check a vital piece of that station and make sure everything was good with it, and clean it out, and if it needed tubes in it, replace tubes, whatever. Thunderbolt 305, one 6LQ6 driving three 6LQ6s. You do have two tuners that go to the 3 and one tuner that goes over here to the 1 6LQ6, so it's a one driving 3. I hit this thing with 35 watts peak all day long. It's had the same set of tubes in it ever since I've got it. I've had it about 6 or 7 years now, and it's got a lot of hours on it. I have put a lot of hours on this thing. Used it to drive another amp. They're great little drivers. They're great standalone amps. I've even got out there with good conditions, and if there's not a whole lot of heavy hitters out there, get out there and talk all over the place just on this thing. So they're great amps. Of course, they made several variations. You got like a Spitfire 305, an Interceptor 350, the Thunderbolt 305. Those all look the same, very similar looking, same case, same knobs, maybe a different meter. And then you've got basically the same design in a Firebird 500, Kicker 500, and they do look a little different on the outside. As well, the Firebird 500 and the Kicker 500, and there's a few more of them, Apollo 500, I think. This driver tube will be laying horizontally. It won't be laying vertically. And in my opinion, again, in my opinion, that does cut into the tube life just a little bit. It doesn't make, you don't have to replace tubes every year or anything, but it does cut into it just a little bit. This is my old faithful 305. Look, it's not the most beautiful on the inside. I've had some that were in better shape than this one, some that did a little more power than this one. But I got this one from Grinder several years ago, and I've held on to it ever since. I had to talk him out of it, and it's just been the one I've held on to. It's never missed a beat. I've hammered on it. Every time you do a tube video on a tube amp, you get a couple of people out there that want to tell you that you're overdriving them, and they've always got something to say. Well, that's almost anytime you do a video on anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Somebody knows more about it than you, or they want to try to look like they know more than you, which isn't hard to do. I'm not a tube amp expert. But I had a guy comment on an older video a couple of days ago, and he said, "Oh, no CB amp needs more than 20 watts into it unless you've got a fetish for replacing tubes." Well, first of all, that's an ignorant statement, because there's plenty of amps that need more than 20 watts, and it's also an ignorant statement because this amp is living proof, as I've been running about 35 watts peak into it for 5 or 6 years, and I've never replaced a tube in it. Now, should the fateful day come that I have to replace a tube, I have about 5 or 6 sets of 6LQ6s ready to go in here, sets of 4. So, that being said, we'll see if I have killed the tubes in this amp. You guys can be the judge whether this thing has just been rode so hard that it barely puts out power anymore. But we'll key it up here and show you what it does. Testing it with the Uniden 66, it does about 35-40 watts PEP. I have pre-tuned the amp. It seems to hold a good tune and everything. So I'm giving it a clean bill of health. I don't think it needs tubes replaced, but I'll let you guys be the judge. 1,000 watt slug. I've got my elbow cocked up over the amp. You do not want to touch one of these when they're powered on, and you do not want to touch one unless you've made sure it's shorted out and everything. You don't want to touch it right after it's been powered off either. So it will give you a little bit of a ride. Hello, audio. Hello. So over 200 watts average. You can hear my fan rattling in here a little bit. Hello, audio. 550, almost 600 watts PEP. Hello, check, audio, check. That is the fan rattling. Audio, check. You guys can hear it a little bit. It's not terrible, probably picking it up worse on the video. Hello. So there you go. Over 200 watts average and almost 600 watts PEP out of this thing. That's a set of tubes that's been in it, I'm going to say between 5 and 7 years. I don't remember exactly, but you know, like I said, this thing, it's been a good one, and it's going to continue to be a good one. One of my favorite amps, possibly my favorite amp ever made. Thunderbolt 305. Just figured I'd let you guys take a look here. Alright, catch you guys out there. Rooster in Tennessee. See you, bye.